Hey everyone! Thanks for coming back to the StoryTalk English Zone podcast. If you enjoy the stories and find them helpful, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to support the channel. Alright, let's dive right into today's episode. Today, I want to tell you about one of the most memorable experiences from my travels. The time I got lost in a forest of red autumn leaves in Canada. It wasn't the kind of dangerous loss you see in adventure movies, but it was enough to give me an afternoon full of emotions, excitement, worry, and finally a deep sense of relief. And maybe that's exactly why I still remember it so clearly. This trip took place in Vancouver, a city that anyone who has visited in the fall will tell you is famous for its breathtaking forests of changing colors. After spending the morning enjoying coffee at a small cafe near my hotel, I decided to take the afternoon to hike in the forest around Capilano Lake. The locals often say that autumn in Vancouver is not just beautiful. It touches your emotions, and I wanted to feel that for myself. The moment I stepped into the forest, the first thing that struck me was the air. It was cool and carried a subtle scent of pine. Sunlight filtered through the red, yellow, and orange leaves, creating shimmering patches of light on the ground. Every step I took made the dry leaves crunch beneath my feet, a sound that felt oddly satisfying. And after only a few minutes, I finally understood why people love the Canadian fall so much. It feels like walking inside a living painting. I began taking photos, and honestly, I couldn't stop. Every corner was beautiful. Every detail felt worth capturing. A fiery red treetop in the distance, a cluster of golden leaves near the ground, or the rays of sunlight piercing through the branches. Everything made me lose track of time. I kept walking toward wherever the light was best, wherever the colors felt more vibrant. Without realizing, I had wandered away from the main trail. When I stopped to review the photos, I noticed that all I could see around me were trees. No signs, no trail markers, no other hikers. I pulled out my phone to check Google Maps, and at that exact moment, the phone displayed no signal. I stood still for a moment, trying to remember which direction I had come from. But everything looked the same. Tall, straight trees, thick layers of fallen leaves, and an endless canvas of red, orange, and yellow dot, and that's when the worry kicked in. I turned back the way I thought I had come. But the farther I walked, the more unfamiliar everything looked. After a short while, I realized I had passed the same crooked tree I had noticed earlier, meaning I had walked in a circle and returned to the same spot. My heart started beating faster. Even though I wasn't truly in danger, being lost in such a vast forest was still unsettling. I took a deep breath to calm myself. A survival video I had watched a long time ago suddenly came to mind. When you are lost, the first thing you should do is stop, breathe, and listen. So I stood still for about a minute. The forest was unexpectedly silent, with only the sound of wind and falling leaves. Then I heard something very faint, the sound of running water. It was subtle, but it was the only clue I had. I decided to walk toward that sound. After about 10 minutes, I found a small stream. The water was clear and cold, flowing gently through the forest like a natural guide. I splashed some on my face and felt a bit calmer. I thought if I follow the water, it will eventually lead me somewhere. I began walking along the stream, and honestly, that turned out to be the most beautiful and memorable part of the trip. The afternoon sunlight shimmered on the water's surface. Red leaves drifted down and floated along the stream in the softest, most cinematic way. I felt like I was walking inside a movie. As I continued, I suddenly saw a deer standing about 20 meters away. It looked at me with big, gentle eyes. We looked at each other for a few peaceful seconds. Then it turned around and disappeared into the bushes as quietly as it had appeared. That moment felt incredibly special, something you can only experience when you're lost in nature. A few minutes later, I heard the sound of people talking and laughing. I was so relieved that I walked faster. When I got closer, I saw two travelers taking photos near the stream. I immediately approached them and asked for directions. They pointed to the left and said, "If you follow this path for about 5 minutes, you'll be back on the main trail." We actually went the wrong way earlier too. It's just 5 minutes, but for me, it was the sweetest 5 minutes of the entire day. When I finally stepped onto the main trail and saw a direction sign, I exhaled with relief as if I had just escaped an unexpected adventure. I sat down on a wooden bench nearby, looked at the sunlight streaming through the trees, and couldn't help but smile. I came here to enjoy the Canadian autumn, and ended up with a story to remember. That evening, I sat by the hotel window, watching the lights reflecting on the water, thinking about everything that had happened. I realized something. Sometimes the parts of a trip that aren't planned turn out to be the most memorable. The moments of worry, the unexpected encounters, or the seconds when you stand alone in the vastness of nature. Those are the things that make a journey special. And thanks to getting lost that day, I saw the true beauty of the Canadian fall, met that gentle deer, and experienced what it feels like to get lost to find myself again. That's the story I wanted to share with you today.